Hey guys, so we're going to use the Gibbs adjustable again today. Maybe a month ago I used it, something like that. So again, might not be exactly the right word. It's got an Astra Superior Platinum in it, and I like to put a G on the envelope, so I know I've punched out the ends to make way for the Gibbs kind of configuration posts. Soap we're going to be using today is from Catie's Bubbles called Revolution. We've got the ink and quill, probably documents on the desk. It's a little hard to exactly see. Haitian vetiver and cedar are the scents in this one, and it is intended to be reminiscent of the old courthouse or hall. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank exactly where 240 something is the address. Pennsylvania Avenue, something like that. Supposed to kind of feel like that. The old parchment, old documents. It's supposed to take you back kind of to that time. And this is in their tall tubs, kind of double walled. And it hasn't been used in a while. It's quite dry. So I'm going to load for maybe even 50 seconds just for grins. And the brush I'm going to use today has been soaking, and it is a 3-band from Golden Nib. And this is the premium grade Silvertip. Nice and soft and poofy. It has not very much backbone, a little on the lower than average side, lower than medium, if you will. And if you want comfort and kind of, if you equate softness with luxury, then this is super luxurious. But to me, it still is stiff enough to, I've never had a problem with it not stirring up and picking up soap, even on hard pucks. So for me, it's a great option. So let's, I've been using a lot of the kind of the Finest Badgers, Maggard's SHD, and this is a Shave Mac Finest Badger. These guys are known more for the backbone, and the treated tips then become soft after the bleach treatment. And so you do get soft tips. Well, this is kind of the original soft tips because the tips are super soft. It's taken from a certain location of the Badger, and the backbone of the bristles is soft as well. And so in a way, these can possibly last longer than a treated brush because those treated tips have been weakened by that bleach treatment. And so this could last, if used as one brush, maybe 10 years or 15 as opposed to 5 or 6 or something like that. But if you put it in a rotation, then, you know, it's all good anyway. If you get a couple of brushes, then all of a sudden that 5 years will turn into 15 because you only use it every third day, and that's just with a 3-brush rotation. All right, so let me throw a little bit of water on my face, kind of as a pre-shave. One day's growth today, and this is hard water, and most parts it's going to be either cool or lukewarm because this is the winter. All right, so very, very light scent from the dry tub. Almost made me think I was just smelling the base. But it is a woody note, so it could very well be that cedar mainly. I don't think I'm getting as much of the vetiver. So I don't have a lot of hopes that the lather is going to be, oh, 0 turned around right there, so let's go. I don't have a lot of hopes that the lather is going to smell stronger, but who knows? Maybe the top layer here has let go of a lot of its fragrance, and as we soften up that top layer with a load, then maybe we'll get some more scent. Maybe it was also geared to be a low-key scent. I don't know. I don't know. I think most of the Catie's Bubbles scents that I have are, you know, very enjoyable during the shave. They are perceivable, and you easily pick up on them there. I don't think I've got a weak one in the bunch. And just a few more seconds until we hit 50. And who knows, maybe I didn't need to do that at all, but I just decided to. So that is 50 seconds of loading. if you have if I had this same soap and I had a stiff brush, then sometimes you don't have to load as long. And we will go ahead. I have been using Catie's bubbles, not consistently, of course. I've played around with so many other soaps. It's one of the first ones I started out with, even before I knew about any of the forums or that shaves were even on YouTube. All I knew about was Amazon. I had a problem with, this is kind of a little bit while I'm working on this lather, my little shaving story. I had been using electric for so long, right out of high school. You know, I went ahead and shaved a couple of times with canned goo, and maybe even once I used a safety razor. I had my grandpa's, lost it unfortunately. And then I pretty much quickly switched to electrics. Went to the military, continued to use electrics during that time, got out of the military, and just kind of kept with electrics until one day I decided that a blade would give me a better shave. So I used the carts or just disposable multi-blade razors. But I didn't really enjoy shaving, and so I would often wait a few days in between shaves. And so then I would have enough beard growth that a 4-blade razor or a 3-blade razor would clog up really easily. I wouldn't be able to finish the shave with one razor. And so I was just around Walmart, and I thought, let me look at the shaving area here, and I saw a safety razor, Vanderhagen, I'm sure it was. Yeah, I think a little bit of the vetiver is coming out. It's still a very soft scent. I'll have to see if I even notice it when it's on my face. So I bought now I don't remember if I did the Vanderhagen first. You know, I don't think I did. I think I saw a deal of the day where it was a Dorco razor, and it was a Chinese rebrand, you know, of a Bailey razor, I'm sure. And I thought, well, this thing's not going to clog. It's only got one razor, one blade. So give it a shot. And that was the beginning. So I used up the pack of 5 or 10 Dorco blades that came with it. My wife saw that I liked it, bought me a Vanderhagen set from Walmart. At the time they still had those. Now my Walmart doesn't. And I used up the pack of Vanderhagen that I got with that kit. Still have the mug. May even still have the brush. I may have thrown it away. It was a clipped pure badger brush, and so at the time I thought it was really luxurious, but then I don't anymore because I have tasted the finer things, and it's prickly now. So it all started from the need to have a razor that didn't clog up. This is how the lather's looking so far. Nice and smooth, but it's still got plenty of structure to it. I'm glad I load for 50 seconds because you can see I don't have tons of lather here. Let me do a little pull here and see it's not even stretching too much. Catie's Bubbles, I believe, is a vegan base. And the reason I found out about online shaving stuff was I had used up my pack of the Dorco blades and maybe even a pack of Vanderhagen blades. Yeah, probably the ones that came with my set. And so it was time to, at that time I was probably using a blade every, 5 shaves a blade or something like that, because I didn't know any better. And I thought, they're wanting $5 for 5 blades. There's got to be a better deal online somewhere. Well, sure enough, the blade like Astra, for about $8 you can get 100 blades. But then all of a sudden, with my searching, I found soaps and creams. I found Taylor of Old Bond Street creams, and I pored over the scent descriptions, and I ordered a few. Sandalwood I thought was nasty. I sent it back. Loved German Street. Loved Mr. Taylor's. Sold most of the others. Then have since discovered other better soaps that, for less price than Taylor's, work better. And so I don't really use Taylor's anymore. At the time, Barrister and Mann had products on Amazon, and so did Catie's Bubbles. And so those are the ones that I would read about. Read the descriptions about La Marche du Rassage. It was an aquatic from Catie's Bubbles. Midnight Dreary is awesome. Ordered a couple of those, and bam. At that time, all I knew was Amazon. Then I discovered Reddit and forums, and oh, there we go. That's a little better. Still kind of got some structure. Still not, it's got some firmness to it, not collapsing or anything like that. But this is not a tallow soap, and so let's just try this out and see if I need to add water after it's on my face. I'll let the water run for a second because you need to get that water up here from downstairs, the hot water. All right, so we have put in 3.5 teaspoons of water into this lather so far. Some people definitely might call this not too floppy. Well, this soap I may need to run a little drier than I normally do. Because this is pretty wet. Yep, looks like it. Took it too far and killed it. So, let's just go back here for a good 10-second spin. 7 seconds. 10. See if we can beef up the mix. So, looks like at least this formulation of Catie's Bubbles, probably the normal formulation, is a little bit on the, doesn't like to be quite as elastic as my favorite soaps do. So mix them a little drier. Yeah, really soft brush, enjoyable. Displays super easy. So you can see how kind of open it is. You may want to check every once in a while. Make sure it's not all tangled up in there. I've never done that really, but from this view it might be a good idea. Really comfy on your face. This brush is not going to give you any brush burn. If you're using an aggressive razor, this is not going to aggravate any tenderness or anything like that. Okay, I think I brought in enough soap to kind of handle things here. I took apart this top section, even where I could see the spring, this main base plate here, and this column is one unit, but then this little part right here with the post coming up, and then it has a platform that stretches across that is underneath the blade to join up over here. That sticks down into this main assembly here. Then you've got the top cap that comes in. This is a little ring that can be unscrewed. I've got it at the tightest setting possible, with this base plate being as close as it can to the adjustment plate here that the blade sits on. So it's set to give me the mildest shave that it can. Let's see what happens. I tested now this is much better than I remember. Maybe I figured out something and it's working, I don't know. But I tested a Gibbs 17. I believe it was Keith, who the YouTube viewer, that sent it to me. Very generous. Used it on several different blades, gave it a bunch of testing. Now, we're not talking, this is not quite as smooth as his for some reason. I had a little conversation with him about it, and I need to get back to that and answer a couple of the questions that he's trying to help me in. YouTube, sometimes those conversations kind of get lost. YouTube doesn't have these are ones you'd like to answer, kind of thing, especially if it is a comment of a comment. If you post a comment on a video, then I will see that in a special section of YouTube, and then if I can reply, I can even sort by or search by filter by ones I haven't commented to, even if I press like or something like that. But then if I reply to one and then you reply to that reply, that kind of sub reply, I won't get a notification on that. I try to scroll back and see if people have given me a secondary response and keep talking and keep the conversation going. But just to let you know, sometimes if I don't notice that, especially if it's been a month or two, if you come back to a comment after a while, I may never see it. All right, face feels pretty good. I did have some blade feel, but it wasn't too bad. All right, let's throw on some more lather. So my brush has a little bit more concentrate now than the bowl does. So I'll kind of mix them together just a little bit, and if I have to go back into the tub and get some, then I will. I'm going to try to remember to pay attention to the scent strength during this pass. Had decent glide on that first pass. Yeah, this does seem to be just a little weak. Well, we can go into the tub. I know I'm going to have more than 3 passes of lather there in the tub. So you see how this is a little airy, and so let's try a little twist here just for fun, something different. Put a little bit more soap on the brush, and then see if it'll kind of thicken up what's on my face, make it a little creamier. Yeah, nice and comfy. Soft brushes like this are like a spa treatment for your face. Often abbreviated on the online forums as TGN, the golden nib. Yeah, there we go. So this is definitely more floppy than a lot of those 2 bands out there that are super popular now. However, I still enjoy it, and I think there's a good many guys out there who still enjoy their 3-band knots. And the nice thing is the golden nib is pretty inexpensive compared to like Elite razors. Those Maggard SHD knots are not as expensive as like a Declaration grooming knot or an Elite razor knot, but they're more expensive than a golden nib knot. I did try one razor that had a golden nib finest, and it worked really well. I'm gonna sold it. The handle was really nice. I didn't want to break apart the handle. The tips were really jelly, and so maybe I might not buy one of those. I don't really like the gel all that much. So the Gibbs I borrowed from Keith was that he loaned to me was more smooth than this one. This is not bad, but I do feel kind of the blade edge. It almost feels like a DE89 or something like that. Got a little bit of blade movement because it's not really supported by the blade super close to the edge. And so I think he replied back to me that there were a couple of different types of the number 17 adjustable. So maybe his was one type and this one is the other type. So the scent strength on this soap is pretty minimal, very light. I do, when I am kind of activating the air around me with the brush, I do get kind of a cedar whiff, not a super strong vetiver. So it's almost like the cedar strength is here and vetiver is maybe half that value perhaps. I do like vetiver. I think it's there, and I think it works really well with cedar. And so I think it was a great idea to put together this scent. I think that's an awesome combination. But this particular soap, I don't know if it's old. It's just not strong enough for me to really enjoy. So I'll pass it on to somebody who likes scents that are a little more mild. Oh yeah, nice good cut there. Close. Happy with that. And that's 3. Some notes about the lather. Definitely should have run this guy thicker. There is a little bit of slickness that's connecting with my skin and protecting me, but it's not a lot. It's almost like a watery kind of slickness. And you can see that it's kind of airy a little bit. So I definitely need to run this guy a little thicker than this. I do have another pass at least in the bowl. But yeah, by the time you add a couple of trips I made there, I probably should have loaded for about a minute with this particular brush. How about that? Still didn't add any more water, because it was a little too on the watery side. So 3.5 remains the water usage. Why don't we go ahead and do a touch up right there. I rinsed that off just for that very reason. Just to see. Oh, I hadn't yet done this type of stroke. I had done this type of stroke in this area. I like to reverse it. See if maybe I can pull up a few of those hairs that are so stubborn in that area. That is my problem area. I don't seem to have stirred up any irritation. Sometimes that happens when I go back and try to touch up an area with a maybe almost against the grain kind of aspect to it. Yeah, I think that helped me out a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Well, I don't know if this is typical of this soap, but this was a very lightly scented shave. And I did water it a little too much, and so I'm not going to ding it for kind of a lack of a luxury creamy feel, because that was likely my fault. But there's plenty of soap in here, and so there are definitely folks out there that like something that's lightly scented and a woody, slightly vetiver scent. Maybe there's not too many out there for them that are scented that way, so that could be a really good thing for somebody else. I'm going to clean up. Very happy with the shave otherwise. That other adjustable 17 from Gibbs was just smoother. I could use the whole range. I could go from the 1 or the 2 setting all the way up to the 5, and they were all nice and usable and smooth. Whereas this one, I'm sticking on the lowest I can get it, and it's it's just not super smooth. No, I wouldn't say it is smooth. It's just a little bit more blade feel than one might say for smooth. And don't get me wrong, if I was stuck with this razor, couldn't use any others, I would enjoy it. It's not overly harsh. I could definitely use it every day if I wanted to, and it's given me good close shaves. This may even be a brush that you could, this may even be a 22 millimeter. I know I've got an O-ring right there because it felt a little too floppy at the current depth setting. And so I threw in an O-ring, and it has put it in a really nice place for me. And this is not a huge badger, but as you could see, it did a great job. As I look into the middle of it, here, let me get a comb. Let's just see if I get any. These tips don't hook. Yeah, so it's moving through nicely. So every once in a while, if you've got a Silvertip or a brush that you definitely have to comb out horse brushes, is what I hear. They're better for the kind of the environment and animal rights type things because you don't have to kill a horse to make a horse brush, but you kind of do with a badger, and I think maybe even a boar too. But this is a great knot, and I've got the goatee, so I have a narrow tract of land, and this had great coverage. So 26 millimeter knots, 28s are popular right now, but you just don't have to have something that big all the time to get a great feeling brush. Well, as I took apart the razor, I thought that maybe I had changed some kind of setting or configuration to make it more mild, but I don't think I did. It's a great little piece, and I will definitely get on the horn with Keith. I think he was the one I was talking back and forth with about it, and continue that conversation and figure out exactly maybe if I have the same kind as him. Just a quick explanation of what I meant for when I had to modify the blades. The Gibbs has these proprietary posts on the end, and if you use the blades that were made for it so many years ago, then they just fit right in there. It's a great alignment tool, but that's just not the direction that the majority of blades went. And so the good news is you can take a modern blade and punch holes right in the end there. I had to do that one twice. That one's kind of messy. And then this one here, and I believe it's an eighth of an inch punch from Amazon that I used. And that's all there is to it. You can even use scissors and just cut off the whole end of the tab here, like up to about that. And that'll work as well. But I like the punch because as I'm aligning the blade, I have something to hold on to try to tweak and align the blade. And that usually doesn't take very long at all. If you're curious about more details about the modification of the blade, I did do a separate video for that. And so if you want to YouTube for Sugar Daddy Shaves Sugar Daddy _ shaves, and there's no vowels in the Sugar Daddy except for the Y. And then also put in Gibbs mod or a Gibbs punch or something like that. Surely you'll find it. It shows a picture of a punch and the blades and the razor, I believe. So that'll give you all the detail you probably want to hear about about how to modify it with the scissors and with a punch tool. All right, well, there we go. All done. Oh, hey, except for let's put on a balm. Well, actually, it was a splash that caught my eye. I think I like the scent of this Nivea Deep Comforting. Definitely not a balm. It's got alcohol. Man, my Old Spice container, the old original, man, that lotion comes out really quickly. I'm glad this one is throttled down a little bit, so you have to do a little bit of shaking, and you just don't have a ton of it come out right away. I like that. Does this one have any good stuff for your skin? Don't believe it tells me. Have to look up online. Like the way it smells. Just kind of a fairly generic type smell. Didn't get very much stinging. Really happy with the technique there then. And the look of the shave is good. No irritation. No weepers or anything like that. So it may not have been the smoothest, but it was really close. Really nice shave. Happy with the brush. Razor. I was hoping for more, but I didn't really. I was hoping for something more smooth, but I didn't get it. But I got a great cut, and it was comfortable enough. The soap, kind of expected to be a little bit on the weak side, and it was, but it performed reasonably well. I did overwater it a little bit, so I'm not going to comment about or be critical about the creaminess of it. Going back to the tub for the 10 seconds or after that, but for the second pass for a little bit more was a good idea. I'm glad I did that, and it beefed it up a little bit to a better level, more creaminess. And there we go. That was today. So I hope this had something in it for you that helped you out. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves.